go. This is the last really low tide, or the last tide of 2019 that goes below chart datum. And I've come down to Chalkwell because it's not foggy today, and I want to make it right down to the water's edge. That is just sitting on the surface, you know, not that far offshore, so just shows you what's possible. So I'm taking that, crossing the channel onto this great big bank of sand. Look at that. It's like a flat Sahara desert. Look at that expanse, look. And I'm the only person here. The conditions are clear because you can see the coast right up to Leon Sea that way. That's going towards London, up the Thames. That's looking towards Kent, over on the south side in the distance. And if we swing all the way round, in the distance over there is Southend Pier. Let's swing all the way back. Southend and Westcliff and Chalkwell, where I've just come from. But I'm heading out to the shore this way. There's a load of Brent geese over there on the shore. Right, I've made it to the water's edge, which is where I couldn't make it before, and the ground is not very stable. I'm getting that sinking feeling. So I'm going to keep on the move. It'll keep me wits about me. This is what keeps bringing me down here. I find a lot of these razor clam shells. I just can't find the beds where the actual living thing lives, and I keep coming down here trying to look. I mean, I've seen so many other people do it on YouTube and do it well. They know where the beds are and they go straight down there and they get the job done. I mean, I didn't even know these were here until I started coming down. It's not well documented or recorded. There are razor clam beds here somewhere. It's just locating them. And I can't locate them. But I'm going to keep looking. The last time I come, I see these little tubes things sticking out the sand. I mean, looks like seaweed or whatever, but I was quite sure that they were some kind of marine worm. And I'm even more sure now because I can see them popping in and out. I'll just see one go right in. If I can find another one, I'll film it and touch it and it'll go in. What's this one? Yeah, see him go in. I don't know how well you're seeing that. Look at that. There's a sea slug. Well, wouldn't you know it, I've just found a live razor clam on the surface. Now, I'm looking everywhere for the telltale holes and the little squirts that come out that I've heard other people talk about. The squirts out the sand when you walk along. You know, I'm finding it really hard to locate a bed of these live razor clams. I'm pouring salt into every conceivable hole. And I'm waiting for one to pop out the sand, but this one's just on the surface. I think I read somewhere it has to be over 10 centimetres long for you to take it, or I heard somebody say that, and this is over 10 centimetres long, so I'm going to take that as a little taster. It's not the biggest one in the world, but that is definitely over 10 centimetres. And well, where there's one, there's obviously got to be more. Now, if I found a live one on the surface, there has no doubt there's got to be some under the surface here. I have salted every conceivable hole. I'm even pouring them down what I think is probably... Oh, here's one. I've got one coming up. Shit, that's the first one. Look, the first one I've ever got out the Thames Estuary salting. Look at that, look. Come on, baby. Come on. Come on. Gotcha. There you go. They are here. Oh, wow, it's only a small one. I wouldn't be happy to take that, to tell you the truth. Is that 10 centimetres? Maybe just. But that goes to prove that you can get razor clams in the Thames Estuary. You don't know how long I've been trying to get that for. I've been trying for ages to get one of them here at the sand. As I say, I find their shells everywhere, all over the place, so I know they're here. Look at that. Oh, I'm so pleased. I know it's not a big one. I know there's people in other parts of the country probably saying, what are you so excited about? I mean, nobody's ever told me that these are here, and it's not documented. I mean, I search on the internet and I'm looking all the time for information on stuff like this, and for the Thames Estuary anyway, and I don't find it. I mean, people do it in the southwest and wherever else. God, I'm well pleased with that. It's small. I reckon that is just 10 centimetres. Razor clams. Am I pleased or am I pleased? Right. This is where you come. Well, and I'll tell you what, it's not a nice place to be because I'm far offshore and I do sink into this mud, and it's quite disturbing being this far offshore and, you know, not being totally in control of a situation. See, look, this is how worrying this is, right? I mean, I've been here, you know, a few minutes, and I've just got this razor clam, and where I got it from was high and dry from there. And now, look at this water coming in. Look at this water. Look. It's covering this ground. Look at it, look. So yet again, being this far offshore and seeing that water moving really quickly is putting the wind up me. But I must say, out of all them holes, that was the classic slit shape, and I haven't found many of them. I've found a lot of holes to pour salt into, but they've not all been that shape. You obviously need a really low tide and the right hole. And I've been pouring salt into, I know they're not the right holes because I just know they're not the right shape, and they're just, I just knew that I weren't going to get razor clams out of most of them holes that I poured that salt into. But I suppose I've just got to be really, really selective. Now I know if there's one here I've found on the surface, and one that has popped up out of a hole that I've salted, that I've caught by design, well, there's got to be more. Just worried about this water movement picking up and me sinking into the mud as well. I'm going to keep looking. Right, there's definitely movement in that water, so I'm going to start making my way back. And it's a shame really, because I thought I was making headway there with the razor clams, but I know exactly where to come back to next time there is a really low tide. I know exactly where to come back to. I'm not an expert shellfish forager. I'm only really getting started. I've always had an interest in it, but I've never lived that close to the... I'm having to use my old GoPro because my newer one, the SD card's run out, which is a pain in the neck, so I can't see what I'm filming. But I was about to tell you before it ran out, I'm not an expert shellfish forager. I'm new to this. I've never lived that close to the sea where I've been able to do this all my life. So I'm still learning. It's a learning curve for me. So I know people out there looking at me catching a couple of razor clams are thinking, what's he so happy about? But honestly, that's a start for me. I know they're here and I know I can get them at certain tides, and I know exactly where to go now. Also, although I've never found a live one, I'm finding gaper clams, the empty dead shells of gaper clams, and I've just found one, a shell on the shore, a gaper clam shell that is just gigantic. I didn't even know they grew to these kind of sizes. Well, look at the size of that. That's the biggest one I've ever seen. So now I know they're down here as well. I mean, I've known they're down here because I've seen their shells before, but I'm not experienced enough to find their holes and extract them. But I will find them. I will find them. If they're down here, I will find them. I will persevere. But I've got to head back because this channel is filling up. I'm on the right side of it, but it means that the tide's coming in. And yeah, I've got to get back to shore. I also find on the shore down here a lot of scallop shells. Now I would assume that they are a little bit offshore, but we live in hope, don't we? I mean, there's loads of them here. Loads of... Oh, look at that. That's a native oyster there. With slipper limpets attached to it. You know what? I haven't taken a native oyster, I don't think, since I've been doing this. Is it alive? Yeah, it looks it. Take the slipper limpets off. That's a native oyster. I'm going to take that because I've got them in the past, but I've never taken them home and eaten them. They're a lot more scarce than the Pacific rock oysters down here. Yeah, I'm taking that. Scallop shells. Scallops everywhere. Well, the empty shells anyway. Somewhere in the Thames Estuary you can get scallops, believe it or not. I'm sure the commercials know about it and they're not going to tell anyone, are they? Right, I'm going to take a few of these smaller non-natives because they look cleaner in this stream. I mean, that's sort of average size down here. These are non-native invasive. They're cleaner in this little stream, this little channel. And as ever, there's untold of them. So look, I've got a little handful there. Don't want to take too many. Well, I don't suppose it matters down here, to tell you the truth. But you can see how this channel's filling up now. Look at that. I crossed that, well, not half hour ago, and now that would be probably up to my waist up there where I just... Here, look, I put that bucket down on dry land about a minute ago, and the water's come up to it already. Look. You've got to keep your wits about you, but you know, I'm happy that I'm this side of the channel because I've got this hard standing that takes me right back to where I need to be. Quite close to shore now. I always walk past this tidal pool because there's never been anything of much interest in here in the past for me. I've just turned this rock over, and in there I can see the telltale sign of a hard shell clam, partly submerged, and it looks like a decent one. Look at that. Yep, he's alive and kicking. There's the heart shape there, gives it away as a non-native American quahog. Hard shell clams. I've got two really decent sized ones. Let's put this rock back. Well, I normally walk past all these places where I'm here. I've just stopped on the way back today just to have a little look, just to see what I might find. There's a little common goby in there. Well, I say little, for a common goby that's quite large. Right, let's put this back carefully, because this goby has made his home under here, and this thing will absolutely crush the life out of it. So I'll give it time to wiggle into a space where it's not gonna get crushed to death. Right, there you go. Look at that periwinkle. Shore crab central, that. There's a little fish there as well. Can't see what it is. Loads of little palamon prawns. Look at that. It's a mal. He's well clean. He won't be shedding his skin anytime soon. Another one. He's been in the wars. Got legs missing and a claw. That's it. I'm done. That concludes the low spring tides of 2019 that are below chart datum. I think I've rinsed this situation for long enough. Just got back from work, had a shower, and I'm ready to cook these clams and oysters now. So let's see how that goes. The razor clams were a little bit too small, so I left them back on the beach. They need to be 10 centimetres, and I was just verging on 10 centimetres. I know where to get them now, so that's not a problem. Next really low tide, I'll be back down there. I'll be looking for bigger ones. Now, let's cook the other shellfish. Gonna boil it first. Got this native oyster. I've never cooked one before. I always only ever take the invasive, really common Pacific oysters. So that's going to go in. The water's already boiling. In he goes. Got these smaller Pacific rock oysters, which are invasive. They're going in. Got these hard shell clams. Look at the size of them. They're invasive too, and they're full of meat. They're so heavy. I know the shell's heavy with these, but there's a lot of meat in them as well. They're going in. And last but not least, I wasn't after cockles, but they was on the surface, and they was fairly large ones anyway. Got a couple of decent sized cockles to throw in there, so it's because the opportunity arose when I was at my feet and I just took them anyway, so they're going in. So when you throw the shellfish in there, the water cools down a little bit. It don't look like it's boiling, but it is. The cockles have opened up already, and one of the little oysters as well. quahogs are coming out, or hard shell clams. Look at the size of the meat in that. That's an even bigger, heavier one, but the meat inside looks smaller, but no matter.
There's other stuff inside of it.
Yeah, that's a little slipper limpet that's been floating about. Right, so this is a native oyster. Not opened up like I would have wanted it to have done, but it's been in there for long enough, I'm sure it's cooked. So I've got it open eventually. That's the native oyster. That's the first time I've ever taken one of those. So I've beaten an egg. I'm going to coat all this shellfish meat in the egg. You're wondering why I didn't do this raw, but I double cook this stuff because it comes from an estuary that in the UK is classed as grade B waters, and this stuff can't be eaten raw or even undercooked. And that's why I boil it first. I take it out the shell and then I do other stuff with it. Might seem like overkill, might seem to a lot of people that I'm killing the taste or whatever. You know, if it was pure pristine waters, then I wouldn't cook them as much as I do, but I have to, so that's the reason. I'm just going to put the shellfish in the breadcrumbs. Right, I'm going to shallow fry these in olive oil in this pan. In they go. Right, got a little bit of tartar sauce. Got some potatoes that my wife cooks me while I was at work, because she's a good girl like that. And I've got some sweet chilli as well. So this is one of the small oysters. One of the quahogs, or hard shell clams. I'm going to have that in sweet chilli. That's a bit tougher than the oyster. I think that's one of the cockles. Native oyster. First one I've ever cooked. Now that is the best one out of the lot for texture. Right, last one. Big old quahog or hard shell clam. I mean, just look at that. Who wouldn't want to eat that? Come on. Let's get a nice potato. Right, let's have a little bit of sweet chilli, little bit of tartar. Oh, where'd the potato go? There it went. Fell off your fork. Wants to try and get away all the time, this spud. Oh yes. Yes sir. It's very nice. I'm going to finish these spuds off and me beer, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.